Hello and welcome to today's Courage Talk on TakeTheCourage.com. My name is Zuri Masumi. I'm the founder of this platform. My vision is to bring more courage into work, into the world of work. Why? Simply because courage is key to progress and moving forward. And today's talk is around time and courage. If you want to know more about time, if you want to talk about time, then there is only one person you need to get to know, and that's Anna Jelen. Anna is today my guest for this talk. We're going to talk around time and courage, and I'm so happy to have Anna with me today.
Well, it's a pleasure. It's a pleasure to be here, Dory. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Anna. Anna is the time expert. That I would rather say she is the queen of time. How about that title, Anna?
That's nice. That's nice.
She's an inspirational leader. She gives she gives workshops and speeches. She coaches people, and she has got a wonderful podcast every week, a fresh inspiration. It's beautiful. We're going to talk about later on. Anna, do you want to introduce yourself with your own words?
Dory, I think you did it very well. I think all I do is just everything is around the topic time. Whatever I do, if I do a speech, if I do workshop or my podcast, it's always out of the perspective from time. And I've been fascinated by this topic since I'm born, and there is not a lot more to say. Then I never know actually how I have to introduce myself, and I'm always happy if someone else does.
Okay, cool. Let's talk, and then we're gonna get to know you better.
Yes.
Anna, we started talking about time and courage a while ago, and then we said that we're gonna get, further on that and continue talking, and it never happened. But it's today the time. So let's talk about time and courage. Is that a good day, Anna, for you?
It's a perfect day to talk about courage and time. It couldn't be better. So you see, it's the perfect time right now.
Cool. Okay, but let's start talking about time first. How have you been experiencing actually this corona crisis in terms of time? Do we experience time differently in such times? How has it been for you?
Well, yeah, considering time, it has been a very interesting time, and it still is. And I see it as there was the time before the corona crisis where everyone was saying, "I don't have enough time," and also before the corona crisis, we can say that we were living in a time crisis, and the time crisis came up because of the acceleration of social change, the acceleration of rhythm of life, the fast change with technology, and suddenly the explosion of possibilities where everything was possible with technology. And all those components were leading us into a time crisis. Now, the feeling of not having enough time also has to do, I think, with the high expectations of everything we want to achieve in just one day. Um, there are so many things because of the explosion of possibilities, and because also we see what everything is possible, and we hear millions of people say, do this and do that and do that, and we try to implement this in our daily lives, and sometimes it's just too much. So just take the example of you think, okay, when I take the train to work, I would like to read my book, and when I'm at work, I want to do a good job, and at lunchtime I could go out and eat dinner, lunch with a friend, and after work I have my 1 hour of sports, and in the evening there is the family and all that stuff. I mean, just this, which would be very doable. I think it could be a huge stress. And then Corona came, and all of this wasn't possible anymore. it was just you, and you had to stay at home, and everything was taken like, and yeah, I mean, during the lockdown, things changed incredibly. And just a few weeks ago, I had a lady on the phone telling me that she loved the feeling of having time, and for the first time since a long time, she felt that now I have time. And she was really scared to return to the rat race. And that's the time which is coming now, which is going to be very interesting. And in the lockdown, we felt to have more time because we had more time. Everything happened at home, so we didn't have to move. These hours on the road, they just fell away. And you had to say no to everything. And that's exactly one of those
Yeah.
tools we always say, if you want to have more time, you have to learn to say no. And this happened just from one day to another.
Uh-huh.
And I hope there will be a different spending time after Corona. So where you dare to say no, where you keep
Mm-hmm.
on trying to think, what did I like about this, and why did I feel that I had more time, and how can I continue doing this? I
Yeah.
dearly hope that. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, okay, let's see. We don't know it. We all don't know. But I also hope that we all of us have learned something from this
Yeah.
time, and we're gonna do things differently. A lot of talks is going on that things are different, but will we really be different?
Yeah.
So, but I think every and each of us can contribute to that, that the whole thing is going to be different. Otherwise, if every one of us continues the same way, nothing is going to be different in terms
Exactly.
of time, in terms of courage, and in terms of everything we're doing.
Exactly. Exactly. Yeah.
So then let's relate time and courage to each other. Being courageous and acting courageously, does that need the right time? Can we do that all the time?
Well, it's a lovely question, and I thought about it, and I think to be courageous has to do with personal development. I think that's something we can develop, and the time is always right to start with personal development, or to start an adventure. I think there you shouldn't wait for something to arrive, because you don't know when it's going to arrive. So it's in your hands, and I rather believe that you would regret not starting to work on courage or on personal development, um, than not doing it.
Mhm.
Yeah, because that's something which we have seen in studies. The regrets, even if you say, okay, I'm going to do that, and then you're into something, and even if you fail, you will regret it less than if you haven't started it at all. So the time is right. I think the the time is always right, and especially when the question comes up, is the time
Mhm.
right? And I think yes, it is. Yeah.
Okay. And I love it the way you connect the right time or the time is now with personal development. I think this is a totally another perspective, yeah. Because
Yeah,
otherwise we put ourselves kind of under pressure to say, when is the right time? But if you connect it with something which is good for you and you
exactly.
grow into it, then it might be that it might work for a lot of people.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah.
Anna, yourself, you have been growing courageously as a time expert in the last years, and I have been watching you. What is the key to your growth and success?
Ah, well, thank you for the flowers. But I don't see myself as very successful, as I see I have a different view, because some external people, the ones who have seen me, they truly believe that I'm successful, and I don't, and maybe that is a factor. In I don't do anything to be successful. In the first place, my work, or let's say like this, whatever I do, I don't do it to be successful, but that would be the result. So success will be the result from what I'm giving into it. That's a little bit how I see success, and it shall be the answer to all the work I put in. And if you have this deep inner urge to share your work with others, and you create and you create and you never stop creating, then I believe that you will be paid for it. And I know today that it needs a lot of work. And I think you can only do this amount of work if you love doing it. I otherwise I couldn't do it. And also, if it's a deep value coming from inside, you know why you're doing it. And another success factor is for sure the one I repeat over and over again. I say it over again. It's focus. It's I say no to so many things, you can't believe it, so that I can focus on the thing I have chosen to do. And I think that's a big factor, because that changed when I started to focus really on time. I did others before. I had more topics and it didn't work. And that's when I thought, okay, I have nothing to lose. Let's try to focus on one thing. And that's when I said, okay, it's going to be my hard topic, and that's going to be time. And another thing is, I think, is to keep on going. Just always, even if you fail and you get up again and you try a new idea. And I mean, Dory, you can't imagine how many times I have failed. It's just, that's just, but the thing is, I never saw it as a failure. It was just, okay, this idea didn't work. Okay, so let's try the next one. And you just keep on going. And yeah, and that suddenly you see something is working better than the other things, and then you think, okay, let's keep on this, and you keep on going. Yeah.
Wow. So it's passion and focus in this case, yeah? Something you believe in, which drives you, and you focus on the result. You don't care about the success. And the success comes automatically.
Yeah, and I think we're going to go into it a bit later on in another question. It's because the process I am experiencing every single week, because I'm going to come out with every single week with a new idea.
Yeah,
that can be, I mean, sometimes I think, why am I doing it? And then, and then when I have this, I think, oh, let it go. And then I go outside, I make a fire, and I think, we're never going to publish anymore. And then the next morning I wake up, and the only thing I want to do is write. And that's the podcast. This comes out of writing, and it really is a deep urge of it's like when you ask yourself, what do you want to do in life, or which values do you want to give energy or time, then it is what I do. It's
yeah, we are going to get back to this podcast topic in a little while. Thank you. So then let me know, Anna, what's courage for you? You seem to be somebody courageous, somebody who does not give up. So what's courage for you?
I've been this question a bit from the moment on. I knew that I'm going to talk to you. I've been thinking about this question: what is courage? And I came up with some thoughts, really. And I think courage, even also, again, I've never seen myself as very courageous, but I have to be a little bit, how do you say? Suddenly, when I thought about it, I had like one or twice the moment where I thought, yes, that was courageous, Anna. It's true. And I think courage is to remove your mask. That's I remember when I truly said, okay, I can't have a mask on. You know, I remember when I was working at a company, it was like business Anna and private Anna. It was like two different kinds of, still Anna, but and I didn't want to do this anymore, even though I never suffered from it. But I realized there was a mask, and when I started to paint my face again and all that, and um, so I think to remove the mask and gently getting there where you don't need it anymore. And I think that is courageous. And for some it's harder, for some it's easier. And to get there where you can really show who you are with all your flaws and everything, and where you can also not just show who you are, but how you think and show what you do, and you can stand behind it. I think that's really courageous. Then courage also means to me to keep on growing, because it's very easy and very comfortable to suddenly arrive a point in your life and you say, you know, that's the person I am, that's how I am, that's who I am. That's easy, but courageous would be to say, I can still learn, I can still grow, and I can still explore new things about myself. I think that's also very courageous.
Certainly.
Yeah. Then another thing is what I always, and that's really where I think I want to get there if we talk about courage. That is, if you believe in yourself or in your idea, and no matter what the rest says. I think I'm starting to get there, because I have a team behind my back, and they come with ideas and they say, do it like that, or do this, or try that. And I start really to listen to myself and say, no, I'm not going to do that. I'm not going to do this, but I'm going to go for this. And even if everyone says, I remember I had this idea to sell an hourglass. I wanted to have a shop and sell an hourglass. And my team said, it's not, you know, the time, it's not just an hourglass, it's also a written letter. And for the money and everything, my team said, no, Anna, it's you know, it's not working. And I said, yes, I'm gonna have this hourglass. And I thought, oh, that's good. I want to, because I remember once I saw a documentary about Jeremy Scott, fashion designer, I think, for Moschino.
Yeah.
And I mean, he wanted to print Ajax bottles. Remember Ajax bottles? And everyone said, nobody's going to like that. And he said, I want this and I'm going to do this. And he did it. And today we can say it's one of his most famous lines. And I remember seeing this and I thought, wow, that's courageous to be able to say, I like it, I want it, even if everyone, your entourage says, no, not going to work.
So did you do it? I
did. I
didn't know about that. Okay.
Yeah, I did, because I didn't talk a lot about it, because it's true. I had in one podcast, I said, if you want an hourglass and the handwritten letter, and I got a few orders, and I was sitting like, when I start to write a letter, even to a stranger one, I didn't write one page. I wrote 5-6 pages to everyone. So I spent I spent evenings sitting there writing letters, and I thought, okay, yeah, it's there, and I'm happy, but I'm not going to promote it a lot.
Okay, okay. Maybe I'll order one, and I want a letter,
Yeah, you'll get one. You'll
even if
get
it's
one.
one page. Cool.
Yeah, and you
Um,
know, the last, because I've been thinking about courage. Sorry if I interrupt you.
no, it's fine.
But the last thing I thought, and that's like the third point of being courageous, is to be a beginner again.
Hmm.
When you have to start something new, you know you will be a beginner again, and it would be comfortable to say no. Um, I'm the time expert. I'm gonna rest in the domain where I'm good, you know. But to accept to start something new again, I think that's people who do this, even you know, no matter the age. That's I think very courageous.
Yeah,
Courageous. Yeah,
certainly. And
yeah,
certainly a challenge for a lot of people.
yeah, yeah,
But the newness is
yeah,
not a matter of fact for everybody.
yeah. Exactly. Yeah.
Okay, Anna, and when did you last face up a challenge whereby you really needed courage? And how was time relevant in that situation?
Yeah, well, I am facing a big challenge right now. And I have to say that COVID-19 has really made me start over again.
Not only
Uh,
you, there are many
yeah,
others.
there are so many others. There are so many others. And I feel with them. I really do
Good, you're
feel with
not
them.
alone.
Yeah, no, you're not alone, and that helps also to know you're not alone. And I think there has been worse case even than this, but you know, when you have to, you're in a good mood, you're on a good you're having a good business model, everything starts to work out. And I mean, I've been a keynote speaker for the last 3 years. This was my source of income, and suddenly something happens and it just cancels 6 months out of your income. There's, you know, the next 6 months there is no income, and 2 or 3 months that would have been totally different, but 6 months I realized from the beginning on that is just too long. And without knowing what happens afterwards, I mean, is it going really to be possible to speak on big scenes again in September? We still don't know.
Hmm.
And so I was challenged by questioning something I really love to do and which I was working for a lot. And but it's good, you know, even it's good to question things. I've always
Hmm.
been doing it once a year. We always planned to question everything, but it was just planned. This one was unplanned.
Hmm.
But I think it was also a chance to put more time into my side projects and to make them a source of income. And because it can't just be one pillar,
Yeah.
I don't think so. And so everything suddenly just challenged by questioning the things you do, and how almost creating a new business model. And
Hmm.
I think that's something. And I see now, you know, which is, it's actually, it's a funny story, because the podcast, that was always a side project. It was never something I thought I'm gonna make an income out of. It was just for fun because I love writing, and I did it because I need to write, and it was also good to spread my thoughts and ideas about
Hmm.
time. But it was for free because I had the other income, so I could just do it for fun. And now everything changes, and so suddenly that's the thing. When you have a side project, now you have to focus maybe on those.
Yeah.
And yeah, it's very very interesting. But I have to say, I know it's from the beginning. I thought, okay, either you go down, which is never a possibility for me, or you rise up stronger than before. And
Hmm.
that's I always chose the latter. Um, it's I'm so happy that I'm an optimistic person, because I know it's gonna work. But for this, you have to keep good energy. You have to take care of yourself, that you're able to say, okay, now take it in your hands again.
Okay.
Uh,
So the challenge is now, and I'm sure you're gonna be great at whatever it's gonna come out. We're gonna talk about that at the end as well. Um, and let's talk about your podcasts and this vlogs. They're super cool, and you're showing up courageously, differently, and creatively over and over again each week. Now, which is that recipe? How can somebody be so creative, and how do you find time and focus?
okay. Um, so if we talk about the vlog, I have to give the compliment to my husband Samuel, because what I do with the vlog is the video I provide and work on the text, but the rest, that's all him. Differently, it's to be, as you said, differently. That's not hard for me. That's my nature. Creatively, I have my inspiration sources, and I have to say, I really use them. Inspiration sources which give me creativity, and I have photography books, a lot of art books, documentaries, reading philosophy. That's all inspiration for me. And sometimes I just have to take a book. I I look at 2 or 3 pages and something comes up in my mind, and so that helps. But I have to have my inspiration sources.
Mm-hmm.
The hardest task is, as you say, is to be on a weekly basis, and which means coming up with a new idea every week. And now the thing is, there is the, or how do you say, the factor why it works. I think there are 2 factors. First of all is, if I say yes to something, then I'll go deep, and I will go for it. That's how it's, yeah. If it is a yes, then it's going to be a yes. If I say I'm going to publish every Sunday, I will publish every Sunday. That's just something, I don't know. Otherwise, I wouldn't say yes. And the other thing is that it really is a roller coaster ride every single week. And I mean, I love my mind because it's an idea creating machine, but the process of creating a new episode is just so funny. And may I tell you about it?
Sure.
So the first thing is, there is nothing. There is no idea. It's just blank. And so I have to sit and think. And I sit and think, trying to come up with an idea for the next episode. And this can take hours. And unfortunately, it can take up until 3 days.
Okay.
And that's just, so the first hours you think, oh, that's so beautiful. You can sit and think and try. But after 2.5 days, you think, okay, we're coming closer to the date where we have to film. And the text, not even the idea is there. But then, let's say the idea arrives, then I have to start to write about it. And there are always 2 parts. I need to have a story, and then there is to look at the topic with the perspective of time. So then again, I have to sit and think, because I have to search for the story. And but then when that comes, I start to write, and in the beginning I feel really good about it. You know, when the idea arrives, you think, oh, that's so good, and you write and write and write, and that's always a very good day, because you're really enthusiastic and euphoric. But then, and the thing is, I always forget it. I always forget that it happens, because I'm an optimistic person. I think one day it will go away. But what happens, mostly a day before we will film and record it, I would go to Samuel and say, we can't do it. It's really bad. And he looks at me and he says, what's going on? I say, no, we can't publish. We can't publish this Sunday. It's too bad. And this happens every single week. Every single week.
So your husband has to go through this.
And yeah, and then he says he knows how it works. So he says, no, go back and look at your text once again. So I go back, and what I do then is I rewrite it. I rewrite the text I have, and often I rewrite it once again. So everything I publish has normally been rewritten once or twice at least. It's never the first version, and then I'm all right with it. And then it's the moment where we can film and then do it. And the thing is that it's this roller coaster ride is so exciting with the ups and the downs that I just love this process. I love everything about it. And that's why I keep on doing it.
Cool. So that means the product we are seeing at the end has got a lot of hard work before it. Yeah. I can't imagine. Cool. Still, I look forward to every episode of it. And I'm sure a lot of other people too. Okay, let's get to this topic. If I only had more time, how many times people use this kind of excuses in order to be able to do something. Can we create more time for ourselves then? And if yes, how, Anna, would I create more time for myself?
Well, I think it's about focusing on your values in life, and it's all that matters. It's and the values. I believe that we put a lot of importance to stuff which isn't really that important. And a good example is I was in Taipei. I worked with a group there with 25 people, Taiwanese people, and we talked about time. And just like 2 days before I went to Taipei, I had a meeting in Zurich, and we were talking about values. It was a lady, and she said, I don't have a lot of time. And I said, okay, so let's look at your values. And she wanted to look at her 24 hours a day. That it really was a 24 hours day analysis. And she said, this is important for me. This is important for me. This. And we had like 7 pillars in the end of things which are important for her. And I thought that's so many. And I said, do you really have to do this every day? And she says, yes, I want to do this every day. And okay. And then in the end, I said, okay, now let's count this together. How much time do you need for this pillar, for this and for this and for this? And she said, okay, I need 2 hours for this. I need 30 minutes for that. And we went on. And in the end, I said, okay, and now put it all together. And a day has 24 hours. But what she wanted to experience in her day and what she wanted to put in there, it was 31 hours. So it doesn't work. I mean, I looked at her and said, and you asked me why you feel stressed? Because it doesn't work. It's an absolute misbalance.
Mm-hmm.
And then I went to Taiwan, and in Taiwan, it was the opposite. All 25 people I was working with, they had 3 pillars. 3. That's it. Family, work, and friends. That's it. I asked them, don't you have a hobby? No hobby. Is meeting friends a hobby? I say, doesn't matter. 3 things. And I learned so much in this week over there because I saw how they were, these 25 people, they were really relaxed. And I thought, that's the thing, we think a value is I don't know. I mean, she was going to book club readings once a week. She was going to fitness every single day and all that. It was just, and it was, she was accumulating, and it was too much. And I always say, for myself, I have like 3 pillars, and that is body, mind, soul. I want to, every day, I want to see that my body, my mind, and my soul can get something.
Yeah.
And so, yeah, focus on your values. Say no to the rest. I know it's hard, but I think the coronavirus helped people to say no in the future. I hope so. And do the things because you want to do them and not because you think you should do them. So, yeah. Yeah.
So yes, we can create more time for ourselves.
Yes, we can. We can, absolutely.
I think it's related with my next question as well, which is, take the courage and own your own time.
Oh.
Yeah. How can you own your own time? Because, you see a lot of people's agenda being driven by a lot of other people. So what do you say on that? How can people own their own time?
Well, I mean, I love this question. I've never ever been asked this question, and Dory, I love it. And you have to own it. There is no other way. And that's exactly what you are saying. It is your time, and you should never ever forget that. It is your time and nobody else's. And of course, we have often the feeling that we are directed from external. Let's just say if you are employed and you have a job, you have to be all right with it. Even you can't say, okay, I'm going to spend now 8 hours doing the job, but it's like others' time. It's not. This is also your time, and you own it also when you have a job and where you spend 8 hours. It's not, we should not think that it is time we're giving to a company. No, if you look at that way, then it's a lot of waste of time because those 8 hours, they are yours as well. And there is no, because otherwise you also think that there is the time for the company, the work time, and that, and afterwards there is me time and there is time for others. No, it's always me time. It's no matter what you do, it's always you. It's always you own your time. And I mean, that's why when I was employed and I was working in a company, it was important for me to feel that it is my time. Even if I was directed by my boss, I still felt I'm always going to speak up. I'm always going to enjoy or to try to enjoy what I'm doing, or just, just take it, just feel it, because as you say, it's we own our time, and we have to remind ourselves all the time, all the time. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, a lot of people probably do miss not to do it. Being somewhere in an office mean, I'm working, it's not my time, but you can grow in that time. You can make the best out of that time for yourself.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Probably related to the next topic I want to discuss with you as well was start with the time you have and not with the one you do not have. Yeah. A lot of people complain about not having it, but what do you do with the time you have? Although we talked, about this other aspects of it. Any advice on this? The time we have available to us?
Well, I think it's also a mindset. It's you always have time, always. The time isn't running away. Time is just ticking next to you. It's just there. It's just there all the time. As long as, I always say, as long as my heart is beating, my time is there. So I think that's really something to. It doesn't exist not to have time. And it is a mindset to believe that time is always there. It's now up to you how you want to fill it, or what you don't want to do with it, or how you want to spend it. and I I think well, my notes were about just a few days ago I read it again and I thought, oh, that's so good. If and we could do the same with time. If we should invest money into a business, we will do a cost benefit analysis. Now, what if we do the same with our time? That's, if you think I'm going to invest time now in this, is the benefit good enough?
Yeah.
And only if the benefit is good enough, you're going to say yes to this. Otherwise, you're not going to do it. And I love this thinking. And but that means that time is always there. It really, there is no time you don't have. Then it's not in your priorities, or it's not in your really in your values. It's time is always there.
Yeah, that's true. But we do let influence ourselves and our time budget by other people. I mean, maybe partly we can't avoid that. But I think in a practical way, in daily life, especially when we work and we are in offices and in organizations, we live in a family. We have got other people around us. So it could be that it's a challenge to really own it, but at least to take it in your hand, to drive it.
Yeah, absolutely. And as you said, we plan our money, we plan our budgets, everything is planned, and we should do the same with time. And also, if you say, yes, I want to spend time with my family, then I think a good discussion with the family could be, how do we want to spend our time together? And also make a conversation out of this. How do we want to spend time together? Same at work. I remember when I was getting unhappy at work, I went to my boss. I said, it's bad. I'm starting to be unhappy. What can I do something? What shall I do? And I remember this discussion, and it was such a good conversation. And also because it is my time. It is, and we have to find ways of try to make really the best out of it, because life is too short to be in an unhappy situation for too long. The unhappy situations, they will be there, but we have to get up again and keep on going again.
Continue. I mean, you're so right. So there's so many people just doing the job and works they do not like or have been doing for a long time, and they're unhappy, and they still keep just continuing for the sake of whatever reasons. I mean, okay, now is a special time crisis, but nevertheless, this courage to say, at least start and talk about it, at least do something about it, and not sit and wait, because by doing that, nothing is going to happen. And that takes courage to really take it in your hand.
Yeah, exactly.
Anna, tell me, do you think that time and courage change with age somehow, our perception of time and courage? Do you think that changes?
Well, I've been thinking about this question a long time, and my answer is still, I don't know.
That's good. The courage to say, I don't know.
I thought, okay, are we maybe getting more courageous with age, or what if I suddenly get too comfortable and think, oh no, I don't want to be courageous anymore? I had all scenarios in my head. I had them all. And I thought, I have no idea. The perspective of time, yes, it changes. This I know, because as if we live in a routine, and often it starts when you build a house and you start to have a family, and then those routines start, and with every single year passing by, you say, oh, time just gets it runs faster and faster with every year. And the thing is, that is because if you think back to the last year, what have you experienced in the last year? You will maybe not come up as many adventures than you had before, when you were traveling around and having an apartment there and then there. And that's the change of perspective of time. So routine, we say routine is actually a good thing for stability and strength, but routine can also be a little bit a time killer.
Yeah.
So, but as long as you're good in your routine, and I've seen now my last 2 months, they were just filled with routine, and I loved it. So, but it changes that you think that time runs faster. That's sure. Yeah.
Okay. I think same applies for courage. You can break patterns and you can break habits with courage. And if you keep doing that through your life, then you can be the master of your courage. And it's like you can master your time. You can also master your courage and live with it and do things out of your comfort zone. Do or go or decide for experiences you would have not done otherwise. And so on. So I think the same applies for courage too. So yeah.
Very interesting. Very interesting. Yeah.
Cool. Okay. Anna, what advice or which thoughts and inspiration would you want to give to people so they can live and use their time courageously?
Well, I think that a possibility here, there are many ways, I think, but I thought if I have to give one advice, I would start to do this experiment and think about the limited time. I know that could be something where some people say, no, I'm scared of death. I don't want to think about my limited time, because it can be a scary thing, but it can also be something very motivating. And I mean, this is a thought I have every single day. Every single day I think, how much time do I still have? And I don't know. And this keeps me trying to do the best out of every single day. And it really is, I think, if you can see every single day as a gift, and if you think, you don't have to put in too much of things into your day. It just do create some moments which do you some good. And if you start to create moments which are good for you or your soul or your body or mind, then you start to create more of those moments. And I think creating moments, just one a day, and then starting to do more of them, it's something where you can feel you're starting to use time wisely. And I think with the thinking or with the thought of the limited time, you're going to be more courageous. That's I'm sure you're going to think, okay, I don't know how much, the bucket list. It's a good thing, but it scares me, because I always think the bucket list is something it's going to happen in 6 months or in a year or in 10 years, and no, if you think, I don't know how much time you have, you start to react a little bit more actively. And if you have an idea in your head since a long time and you've never had the courage to start it, I think the moment you start to think about your limited time every single day, you start to think, okay, why not? Let's try this. I don't know. Maybe.
Okay. Yeah. No, I think I love your idea of thinking moments, because it breaks this huge topic of time where everybody is complaining and this time, but it's about the moment now. I love that. That has helped me a lot to kind of think differently.
Oh, that's nice. Yeah. That's nice. Cool.
Yeah, okay. Our last question, Anna. What about the future? Have you got a bold vision of of the future for your time projects for you? Do you want to share it with us?
Well, I'm happy to share it, and also thank you for the occasion. Yeah, I will start with my members club, which is I call it the universe of time. And you will find articles in there. You
Wow.
will find videos and online courses and the extended version of my podcast. It's really, you should go in there and think, what shall I do today? Do I want to hear something? Do I want to read something? Do I just want to sit back and listen?
Cool. I
Yeah,
just imagined this universe.
yeah, it's,
Wow. I
yeah,
look forward to it.
yeah, me too. And it's going to be growing with the years. Now this is just the start, and it's very easy. It's very cheap, I have to say, because it's very important for me that all my followers have can have access to it, and I have there are countries where just it was important for me that everyone can have access to this universe of time. So that's the first thing. I will be writing books. That is for sure. That is
Yeah,
for
you shared that with me. How far is that book, the first one?
it was completely cancelled because of the virus. Because I was just able to write a book because I had an income on the side, and I but sadly without this, I knew this is going to take me like a year to write this book. So I knew I have to put it on the side. But it's knocking on my
But
little
it's
head
there.
every single day. It says, write me, write me, write me. But
Go for it, take the
yeah,
courage.
I will, and I'm sure I'm going to be writing a few books. That's because I do write every day. So, and then another, if you said bold project, then I can tell you about my project about an exhibition, a time exhibition. And it's going to be called Find Time or something.
Oh,
It's going to
cool.
be like a festival. It's
Wow.
a youth exhibition, which is going to take 1 month every year, and but that is like I've been doing the calculations, and we talk about the $1 million project. So it has to wait a little bit. It needs a little bit more time, but you know, that's the other thing. Every idea I had, somehow I realized it, and so I'm just gonna put it there. I know that this one day this exhibition will come.
Cool.
Maybe not as planned, but different, but it will come.
Okay.
And sorry, now I'm talking too much, but so it's a project called The Camp, where three beautiful ladies and myself help people to start a project or a vision you always had in your mind, and you're going to be online 1 week before we're going to start working with you, then 1 week at the camp, and 1 week afterwards. So it's really, if you have a project, if you have a vision, that's the place where you can go, and that's called the camp. Yeah,
The camp. And it's gonna, so it's gonna come out
yeah,
anytime now.
yeah. That's also, I'm gonna put it on my homepage soon. But so there's a lot to come, but that's enough from my side. I'm always blushing when I'm talking too much from my projects.
And well, I'm asking you, so
Yeah.
it sounds really inspiring. So I look forward to this universe and to see more about your camp and to the exhibition. Maybe you want to do it virtually first before, you know,
Yeah. Yeah.
take people to this virtual journey.
Yeah. Yeah.
Um, cool. That
Yeah.
was my last question, Anna. Did you expect to hear any question which I didn't ask? I didn't ask
Oh,
those classical questions. I think you have answered those enough.
yeah, exactly. And I was so, when I read your questions, I just started to write and think, and I was very happy to get your questions, and really thank you for taking your time to prepare them, because they are not usual questions, and I love that. So
Thank you so much.
yeah.
Hey Anna, how do people reach out to you when they want to contact you? Where do they can they contact you through?
Well, you find everything on www.annajelen.com. That's also where you can write an email, or that's I'm on Instagram, and I'm a little bit everywhere. The thing I'm poor. I'm poor in answering fast. I answer, but it takes time.
That's it. You're owning your time. You're not
Yeah.
letting your time budget being used by other people, and that's a
Yeah.
good thing. So that was a huge pleasure, Anna. Thank you so much. Hey, people, if you want to talk to Anna, just reach out to her. She's going to get back to you at any time. It just takes time. AnnaJelen.com. Subscribe for her beautiful podcasts every week. Fresh idea and a lot of inspiration, a lot of creativity. And yeah, Anna, we're going to stay in touch. Thank you so much. It was
Thank
a
you, Dory.
fun talk.
Thank you,
And
Dory. It's such a pleasure and such an honor to be on takethecourage.com. Really. Yeah.
thank you.
Great work, what you do.
Yeah, thank you. I'm growing. Hey, we stay in touch. Thank you so much. And hey, people, if you want to get more courage, be more courageous in your work, then just get in touch with me. Yeah, subscribe, takethecourage.com. And yeah, see you soon.
Okay. Bye-bye.